Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another Minecraft update ideas video, the final one of 2017, and I'm embarrassed to say I accidentally typed 2016 when writing the script for this. I'm not ready for 2018, but either way I want to get right into the video. But first, if I could just say it, that don't expect this video to have any rhyme or reason to it, because the topic is, of course, miscellaneous, which means this video is any ideas that didn't really fit into any of the other updates. So now, here it is, get ready, let's get started. Number 1 is zebras. I don't have much to say about these. I think they'd be a good spawn for savannas and easy enough to implement by essentially just adding another texture for horses. That is, unless Mojang wanted to get serious about this and make an entirely separate mob with its own behaviour. But yes, that would just drop leather and maybe you couldn't even ride them. More of an ambient mob like bats and parrots than anything else. Or even fish if you wanted to get really current with this. Now we have villager heritage, which is a big thing, but it essentially boils down to villager diversity. The point is to have villagers with different skin colours, hair colours, eye colours, and then to have breeding work properly between these different kinds of villagers as it would in real life, almost like there's some sort of DNA, meaning that, you know, if a person with blonde hair and a villager with brown hair have a kid, it's probably going to have brown or blonde hair. It's just for inclusiveness, but also you can make it work with things like Eskimo and Western villages, which I talked about in the structures update video, and maybe a new kind of village which would be a tribal village, so that different biomes could be more likely to have villagers of different skin tones. I don't have much to say about this, but if I can find it, I'll have a link in the description to a detailed page all about this concept. Next up, we have stalactites and stalagmites. These are quite simple. Both the more mod-like actual blocks and also big structures that can spawn in some caves. Just a way to make caves harder to traverse and more interesting and exciting from cave to cave. It would also be good if you made stalagmites do extra damage if you fall on them from a height, so that you could pick them up and use them to make pitfall traps. After that, I have something that is, again, as with most ideas I have covered in this series, all about variation, and that is different sands. We have sand and red sand, of course, but there are so many types of sand out there. Yellow sand, white sand, orange sand, red sand, black sand, and you could implement all of these, especially as the block limit will be removed, and then use it to have more variations in beaches, deserts, all these things. It would make sand able to stand out a bit less in oceans if you could have a more grey, or at least less vibrant yellow sand that mixed in better with dirt and gravel. Either way, different sands are good. I'd also love, even if we don't get different kinds of sand, to see red sand deserts, because we don't really have those at the moment. Literally just copy-paste the coding for deserts at the moment and replace sand with red sand. It's simple and a nice touch to make Minecraft worlds more varied, just because right now you can only really find red sand in a little bit of mesa biomes, but I think you should just have red sand deserts. And next we have villager heritage, because it's in my notes twice. I need to check through these before I start writing the script, don't I? Okay, here we have an aesthetic touch, and that is fog underground. Bring it back. Minecraft used to get increasingly foggier as you got further underground, and it was super nice to look at and made exploring caves more exciting and interesting, as you couldn't quite see entirely around you. It would bring an exciting feeling back to Minecraft that I feel is missing when you're exploring, because at the moment you can stand at one end of a ravine and see pretty much to the opposite end of the ravine, which makes them feel like they're not scary. Please just understand that I'm struggling to explain how good this is, and that looking at what is on screen should hopefully make you see why I really want this to come to Minecraft. Now a small change to make a technical aspect more accessible, and that is that water under y=30 is greenish in slime chunks. It would make finding slime chunks something you could do without digging out a huge area or googling the seed. It means that we could properly explore the Minecraft world, and I think it would be a nice little touch to be mining underground when you stumble across a green puddle because you're in a slime chunk. A fun touch you could do with this is to make the water get more green and opaque the further down you went. A small touch here is that I think Prismarine crystals should be a light blue dye. That's all I have to say. Another blue dye that isn't lapis, and a fun thing to include in Minecraft. Now for something a bit bigger. Volcanoes! They have been available through mods ever since, as far as I can tell, 1.1.0. That's ages, and they're not an official feature. I love the way Red Power includes them, and I want them in the game officially. Basalt is a great block, and volcanoes are a fun biome. Now for bringing back a removed feature, super secret settings. I had a lot of fun with these, and I miss them, so please bring them back. Also, beta terrain generation. Minecraft terrain nowadays is generally pretty boring, and yes, you can do custom world generation settings, but I think beta terrain as a world type would be really fun to do and make worlds more interesting for people who want it. Underground biomes. Yes, this is something I really want. So, could we please just get these? It would change what you find in caves, the kind of ores you find, maybe different caves would have different biomes in them. It would change what blocks you find underground, whether it's stone, cobblestone, granite, diorite, andesite, marble. Yes, I'd like to add marble, basalt, all these. You could have ice, sand, sandstone, dirt, but rather than just being random, have it relate to the biome you are in. That's so fun to just add better exploration to Minecraft, so why not? It could also affect which mobs spawn, how many stalactites or stalagmites you find, or what kind of them. All these things making caves more interesting and varied. It just helps you to stay focused on a Minecraft world, as it would always be new and exciting. This is the same reason I'm so in love with modular dungeons. Small change here, string from wool. You can get wool from string, so if we could have it the other way around too, that'd be great. Thanks. Above ground rock formations are another thing I'd like to see, like we have in some biomes such as extreme megatigers. An example is the custom terrain I have on Cat Potato outside and around the lighthouse, although something that detailed is not really possible in terrain generation, but you get the idea. I'd like to see them in extreme hills, megatigers and roof forests, with more variations in them for different block types, and also possibly having certain ores spawn in them to make them something worth finding. Editable signs and books. Basically better editing in them. Please, could we just have a proper cursor so we can select where we type without having to destroy half of what we have written? Also, could we edit signs once we've placed them? Maybe with ink sacs, and make signs locked to each account so that you can have griefing with better signs. Also, localized weather. So rather than the entire Minecraft world either being rainy or not, I'd like weather that only affects certain regions of Minecraft at a time, as well as things like snow and rain in any biome, except maybe no snow in deserts. But I'd also like to see something like sandstorms featuring in deserts, and fog in many biomes, especially near oceans, just making it harder to see for a day or so occasionally. I honestly don't know how to explain why I want better weather in Minecraft without repeating myself about variation and other stuff like that. Now for bookshelf variants. Simply enough, give bookshelves a lot of random textures. That's it. Thank you. Now I have a couple of contrasting ideas that I want your opinions on, which is, number 1, zombie pigmen treat pigs like zombies treat villagers, attacking them to convert them to zombie pigmen. Or that zombie pigmen treat pigs like zombie pigmen. So if the player killed a pig in front of a zombie pigman, they would be attacked by zombie pigmen. So which idea do you prefer? And for a better mix between different biomes and blocks, with dirt variants. Not as separate blocks, but that dirt blocks camouflage to the blocks nearby them. So they'd have more pebbles in them near stone, including being more orangey tones with orange pebbles near granite or white for diorite. You get it. So then you would have dirt that's paler with no pebbles near sand. I guess you could have dirt with darker, more saturated tones near water, the same way hydrated farmlands work. As a bit of lore and structures, could you get obsidian randomly spawning in the nether, but as almost complete nether portals that are found in nether fortresses? What I'd like to see is a complete overhaul of the nether to add biomes and more stuff to be found. But let's be honest, we probably won't be getting that anytime soon, and it would really be a whole update to itself, so portal rooms in nether fortresses with incomplete nether portals would be cool. If you wanted, you could even make them connect to temples and strongholds, or anything like that to make it a bit cooler to explore nether fortresses, and complete the incomplete portals to quickly find cool loot. I might actually make a video about including this, and some lore for Minecraft, because that would be fun to explore. Okay, right, on to something else, and that's some kind of use for rotten flesh. Flesh is completely useless at the moment, and you end up with a lot of it, so an idea that has been used and chucked around hundreds of times, rotten flesh into the leather. So craft 9 raw flesh into 1 raw leather, which you can then smelt into leather. There we get a use for them, and it's not overpowered, so you can use it properly. Now that the aquatic update is coming, and we know that breathing underwater tricks aren't working anymore, I'd like to include a way to breathe underwater. A feature I mentioned ages ago is the distiller. So I want to be able to get a bottle of air using the distiller, so that you can refill your air while underwater, which would be cool to work with while exploring ocean movements. So there we are. Finally, we get to carbon chains. a little ore vein of coal with 1 or 2 diamond ore in the middle that spawn as a rare find, like fossils, but maybe a little bit more common. This could spawn at pretty much any Y level and wouldn't affect other diamond spawn rates in a chunk, but just a way to find more diamonds. Anyway, that is all for today, so thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy or like any of the ideas, then please do like the video. Or if you want any of the ideas from this video in the game, or even if you just like the video, then please share it with all of your wonderful friends. And if you don't want to miss the next month, which will be the Misc update? The Misc update and the Misc update. What's the difference? We'll find out next month by subscribing. Or if you want to see any of my other videos, then subscribe. Please consider watching the whole series if you haven't already, as we head into the final 2 videos in January and February. Anyway, see you around. Ciao.